This is pretty much the epitome of mirrorless lenses. Hi folks, welcome back to the channel. My name's Ben and this is the Sony 28mm f2 for Sony full frame. Let's get into it. First off, this thing is tiny. It's a really nice, super lightweight lens, weighs about 200 grams and you barely notice it on front of your camera. It's all metal construction, even the focus ring, and it does not feel cheap at all. It feels really well built. There's just one feature on the lens, which is the focus ring, which is obviously focused by wire for a mirrorless system, but it does feel nice. There's a bit of resistance in there, not too much, not too little. It has a 49mm filter thread on the front, which was handy for me coming from the Lumix Micro Four Thirds system, which meant I already had a step down ring for 49mm filter thread. It's not weather sealed, it doesn't have the rubber gasket around the lens mount or anything, but Sony do claim water and dust resistant, which I'll believe them on. The focus is fast, smooth, silent and really accurate. It does really well in low light conditions, especially with the f2 aperture, which is also much nicer to have than the standard f2.8 on most 28mm lenses. Bear in mind, focus performance will also depend on your camera body. Image quality is fantastic. It's not the best in the world, it's not a G Master lens, but all things considered, I'm very happy with the image quality from this lens. You can see a bit of fringing if you're shooting wide open at f2, but stop down to f2.8, you're more or less losing it. Corner sharpness is not brilliant at all. It does get better after f4, f5.6, but then it does start to tail off again after f8, f11. I'm not going to lie, there is quite a lot of barrel distortion, but with one click in Lightroom, you pretty much fix it. You do also see a bit of vignetting in the corners, but anyone who knows me will tell you I quite like a bit of vignetting. Flaring is more of a whitewash effect rather than bright and colourful, but in my opinion it's not overly distracting. There's 9 aperture blades in this, so you do get some pretty nice smooth bokeh, especially when you're shooting close-up subjects. Otherwise, with the wide angle, you don't really get an awful lot. And for shooting video, this is a fantastic lens to have. Shooting 4K on the A7 III, you can shoot 4K at 28mm, and then use the APS-C Super 35 function to get roughly 40mm. Honestly, it's a bit of a stretch to call these negatives. The focal length could be a bit of a weird one for you. It's not quite as wide as a 24mm, but also not as tight as a 35. It's just that in between. Saying that, 28mm is roughly equivalent to most smartphone lenses. I did take this around Liverpool a couple of weeks ago and I did really enjoy using it. It's the only lens I took and I got some pretty decent shots, I think. There's no optical stabilization, but any recent Sony camera will probably have built-in stabilization. And I always like to see a auto to manual focus switch, but it's not really a deal breaker. Overall, this is a cracking little lens for everyday out and about shooting. It's super lightweight and easy to carry around anywhere. It's pretty inconspicuous and no one's really gonna have a second thought about you taking photos. Even though I've not done a great deal of it recently, I have found it a very nice size, weight and focal length for vlogging, as well as being a very nice lightweight package for gimbals. Before I forget, there's also 2 adapters specific for this lens. They're both wide angle converters, one for a 21mm and one for a 16mm. I've not used either of these, but from what I gather, they just clip on, just like your lens hood, and boom, you've got another lens. These things aren't cheap. They're £200 and £250 respectively. I don't know how they would affect the image quality, and professionally I wouldn't take a chance on them, but for a budding amateur, someone just getting into a Sony system, it might well be a perfect option. So overall, this is a very impressive lens. For £350, I can't believe the build quality and performance of this lens. This is pretty much the epitome of mirrorless lenses. It's small, compact, lightweight, good quality, it's a good wide aperture, very fast and accurate focusing, but it's for sale because I just bought this. I've been after this lens for a little while, to be honest with you. It's the 24mm f1.4 G Master, and let me tell you, this is by no means the type of lens that any amateur or new photographer should be aspiring for. Personally, I'd just been really missing that extra little bit on the wide end, and the f1.4 will be fantastic for me at dark wedding venues and stuff like that. This is over 4 times the price of the 28mm. So yes, I am selling 28mm. I cannot keep both of them. That makes no sense at all. It's on eBay right now. I've used it 5 or 6 times in total. One of those times being outside just now to photograph my brick wall. I'll leave the link down below if you're interested. It'll end on Monday if you want it. It's there. So yeah, this is a cracking lens. I've really not used it enough at all because I've also been using the Tamron 28-75. So most of the time I've just been using the Tamron lens instead. But the few occasions I have gone out just with this lens, I've really enjoyed it, but it makes no sense for me to keep it. Okay, so that's it for this video. I hope it gave you some sort of insight into the 28mm. It's a cracking lens. I would recommend it to anyone, and they're relatively cheap enough that I could eventually get another one if I wanted to. If you'd like to see more videos like this, please do hit subscribe down in the bottom corner there. Give it a like if you liked it. Drop a comment down below with your thoughts on this lens, or if you have any questions about it. And until next time, be good, get out there shooting, be safe, and I'll see you in the next video.